students, welcome to the 9th standard physics class. We are in the 9th chapter, that is force and laws of motion. I have started this class earlier, and in the last class we have discussed about the force, the types of force, effects of force and the first law of motion. In today's class, let us learn about the second law of motion, its derivation and how to solve the problems. Okay, and how we can apply the second law of motion in our day-to-day life. In the previous class, we have studied about that when unbalanced force applied on the object, it exerts the motion. Okay, when we apply the unbalanced force on the object, it causes the motion. So unbalanced force is applied, that means there is change in, when you apply the force, there is change in velocity. So that change in velocity is nothing but acceleration. Okay, the object gets accelerated. When there is change in velocity, that object gets accelerated. So in today's class, let us see how the acceleration depends on the force and what is the relationship between force, mass and acceleration. And let us define what do you mean by force mathematically. So we will take few situations in our everyday life. So consider while playing the cricket match or any football, if the ball is coming slowly, if you try to catch it, if the ball is coming slowly and if you try to catch it, do you feel much pain? No, it does not hurt much. Consider if the ball is coming at the rate of greater velocity, if the ball is coming fast, that means if you hold it suddenly, what happens? It hurts more, right? It hurts your hand more. Or another example, consider one moving truck is there. Okay, one truck is moving and suddenly if any person comes in front of it, it hurts more because the size of the truck is more, that is why. Okay, that is why it hurts more. Consider the same truck, it is at rest, and if you go in front of that, if you touch that truck, does it cause any hurts? No. There is the mass is there, but there is no movement. That is the difference in a moving truck and the stationary truck. So that means both this mass and velocity both causes the object, right? Both are equally important, okay, to cause the motion of the object. If you touch the moving truck, it hurts. That means there is velocity is there and there is mass. Because of mass and velocity, the person got the hurt. So we can observe the mass and velocity causes the object. Okay, that causes the object. There is application of force is there, and if you touch the stationary truck, if you go and touch the stationary truck, the velocity is there, not there. That is why you don't feel much hurt. That means the velocity also causes the motion. Okay, the variation in the velocity. If the object is coming at the greater velocity, it causes larger force. Okay, yeah, it exerts more force, it causes more. So both mass and velocity, if the velocity is greater, it causes more. So both are equally both are depends on the cause of motion of the object. Both are equally important in causing the motion. So the force exerted by the object depends on mass and velocity. So the force exerted by the object depends on how much it have the mass. If the mass is larger, it hurts. It causes larger motion. It exerts more force. If the mass is less, if you take a bicycle, okay, consider if the bicycle comes with a greater velocity, and with the same velocity one truck comes. So which hurts more, the bicycle or the truck? Truck causes more because the size of the cycle is less, that is the reason. So in order to explain all these situations, Newton introduced one term, that is momentum. So momentum, we can represent momentum as P. Okay, momentum can be defined as it is a product of mass and velocity. So momentum, he introduced the concept momentum. If the momentum is more, momentum is nothing but it's a product of mass and velocity. If mass and velocity of the object is more, that object exerts more force. That is nothing but momentum. Momentum is more. So that is the reason when you try to catch a fast coming cricket ball, it hurts more. That is, momentum is more in that case. If you try to catch the slowly coming ball, it hurts little less compared to the fast coming ball. The reason is momentum is less in that case. So momentum, we can define it as it is a product of mass and velocity. We can represent momentum by the symbol P. P is equal to mass, m into v. And what is the SI unit of momentum? SI unit of momentum is okay, how to get SI unit of mass is kg and SI unit of velocity is meter per second. So the SI unit of momentum is kg, kilogram, meter per second. So this is the SI unit of momentum, mass kilogram, meter per second. Got it? So you can take another example. Consider on the road one car is there with a dead battery. So two persons tries to increase the speed of the car. Okay, they tries to start that car. So if two persons pushes with the speed of 2 meter per second, okay, it starts, right? If you just push, okay, just push a little, it starts. So instead of that, if 4 or 5 people continuously pushes to some time, okay, to some times, gradually its acceleration, it gets accelerated, okay, gradually it gets accelerated. So the rate of the change in momentum not only depends on the change in momentum not only depends on the velocity of the object. Okay, here what happened, if you apply if you push the car for little time, it starts. If you push for some time with the to certain extent, to some time with the same acceleration, okay, it starts. So you might have seen this situation. If you push for some time, gradually its acceleration increases. So gradually it starts. So we can conclude that the change in momentum not only depends on the velocity, how much force you apply. It also depends on the time, how much time duration, how much time you taken to increase the velocity, how much time you taken to change its acceleration. Okay, got it? So we can conclude that that is nothing but force exerted. Okay, if you apply the force for some time, if its acceleration changes, also there is change in momentum. So we can conclude that the rate of change of momentum not only depends on the velocity, also with the time, or the force exerted by the object depends on the rate of change of momentum. So we can conclude that it is necessary The force exerted to change the momentum of the object depends on the rate at which, time at which the momentum is changed. Okay. So the second law of motion states that states that the rate of change of momentum of an object is proportional to the applied unbalanced force in the direction of force. The rate of change of momentum of an object is proportional to the applied unbalanced force in the direction of force. So, that means if you apply the force, okay, if you try to change the momentum of an object, okay, in which direction you apply, that direction the object moves always. So that is nothing but the direction of the force. So direction of force, if the object moves in the same direction, that means the force is positive. Okay, the force is vector quantity, and this momentum is also vector quantity. P is equal to m into v. Momentum is equal to mass into velocity, right? Here mass is it's a scalar, but velocity is have the direction. So this momentum have the direction. Okay, it could be positive or it could be negative. It have magnitude and direction. Momentum have magnitude and direction. Got it? It is a vector quantity. Like that, force also is a vector quantity. Okay, it asks in which direction force is applied. Okay, if you take the mass, okay, in which direction the mass you don't ask. Okay, if you consider 10 kg of rice is there, you don't ask in which direction 10 kg of rice. But if you apply the force, okay, you will ask in which direction force is applied. So it is a vector quantity. Got it? So this is the statement for the second law of motion. The rate of change of momentum of an object is proportional to the applied unbalanced force in the direction of force. Let's see the mathematical expression to understand it better. Okay, let's find the formula for the force. Let us find the relationship between force and acceleration. Consider an object of mass m moving with the initial velocity u in a straight line. Okay, the object will be accelerated uniformly. So the final velocity will become v. Okay, at time t. It is uniformly accelerated, so it gets the final velocity v at time t. So by the application of the force throughout the time t, its momentum will become, initial momentum will become P1 is equal to mu, and final momentum will become, by the application of force, when the force is applied, okay, its momentum will become, initial momentum is P1 is equal to m into u, and final momentum will become P2 is equal to mv. So the change in momentum, let us see the change in momentum. Change in momentum will become is directly proportional to P2 minus P1. Change in momentum is nothing but it's the difference between P2 and P1. So what is that P2? P2 is equal to mv minus mu. So that is equal to m into v minus u. The change in momentum we get it as, okay, mv minus u. So the rate of change of momentum will become, the rate of change in momentum will become, is directly proportional to m v minus u divided by t. Okay, rate of change of momentum is m v minus u by t. Okay, rate means time, per time. So we know that by the second law of motion it states that, okay, the rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the applied force. That means, okay, the applied force, this is equal to applied force, right? So applied force, the rate of change in momentum is directly proportional to applied force. That means this applied force is proportional to this mv minus u by t. So applied force, what is the symbol we use? That is F. So F is equal to, so let us balance this. So when we balance this, we get the constant of proportionality K into mv minus u by t. So what do you mean by this m into, what do you mean by this v minus u by t? V minus u by t is nothing but it is acceleration. So I will replace this, k is equal to ma. Got it? So F is equal to k into ma. So F is an applied force is equal to, this is a proportionality quantity, proportionality constant in order to balance both the side, and m is the mass of the object, a is the acceleration by the acceleration of the object. Got it? So we got the, when the value of constant, okay, when the value of when we, so F is equal to, when the value of k becomes 1, then we get F is equal to ma. Force is the product of mass and acceleration. When the value of k becomes 1, for this, 1 unit of force is defined as the amount that produces an acceleration of 1 meter per second square in an object of 1 kg mass. So we can define 1 unit of force as, it is the amount that produces an acceleration of 1 meter per second square in an object of 1 kg mass. So 1 unit of force is the product of 1 kg of mass into 1 meter per second square of acceleration. So F is equal to ma. What is the SI unit of force? We know the SI unit of mass is kg and the SI unit of acceleration is meter per second square. Or since this force, the constant of force is defined, it is explained by the scientist Newton. In the name of the scientist Newton, the SI unit is given for him. So SI unit of force is Newton. SI unit of force is Newton, and we represent it with the capital letter N or Newton. Got it? So consider an object moving of mass m, moving with the initial velocity u. So when it is accelerated, it gets the acceleration, so it final velocity will become v with the time t. Okay, it is accelerated for the time t second. Okay, then the momentum, the initial momentum of the object will become p1 is equal to m into u, and final momentum of the object P2 is equal to m into v. So the change in momentum will become P2 minus P1, and that is nothing but P2 means mv minus mu. So that is equal to m into v minus u. So the rate of change in momentum means you have to divide by t, is proportional to m v minus u by t. So from the second law of motion we know that the rate of change in momentum is directly proportional to applied force. So write this as it is and replace this rate of change of momentum by applied force. The applied force is proportional to rate of change in momentum. So F is equal to K into M in the bracket V minus U by T. This K is nothing but proportionality constant. Why we use? In order to balance both the sides. So here M into V minus U is nothing but here V minus U by T is nothing but acceleration of the object. So F is equal to ma. For this, 1 unit of force is defined as the amount that produces an acceleration of 1 meter per second square in an object of 1 kg mass. So the SI unit of force is Newton. Got it? So we got the formula. Force is the product of mass and acceleration. The force is directly depends on mass and acceleration. If the mass of the object is more, that means force is more. If acceleration is more, force will become more. They are directly depends on force. So that is the reason, if the acceleration is more, if the ball comes with the greatest velocity, we gets more hurt. Or if you hold any object, okay, if one small chalk falls on your hand, you feel less burden, less hurt, means the mass is less. If little big wooden block falls on your hand, you get more hurt. The reason is the mass of the wooden block is more. That is the reason, because mass and acceleration directly depends on force of the applied force exerted by the object. So the mathematical expression of second law of motion, F is equal to ma. F is equal to ma. Here, okay, F is equal to ma. What do you mean by A? A is the acceleration. A is equal to V minus U by T. So V minus U by T. So when I take this to the right, okay, Ft will become Mv minus Mu. So when the force will become 0, okay, when the applied force will become 0, that time what happens? When F is equal to 0, Mv will become equal to Mu. When there is no application of force, the object will continue with the uniform acceleration, okay. When you don't apply the force, the object will continue with the uniform acceleration. That time U will become V. And when the value of U becomes 0, okay, when the initial velocity U will become 0, what happens? Okay, V also, final velocity, initial velocity will become 0, then the final velocity, this value also will become 0. That means there is no movement. The object will remain at rest. Okay. Here it continues with uniform velocity. And when U becomes 0, okay, and V also becomes 0. Okay, V also will become 0. That means object is at rest. Object remains at rest. Got it? This is the difference. Okay, now let me work out the example problems. A constant force acts on an object of mass 5 kg for a duration of 2 seconds. Okay, it increases the object's velocity from 3 meter per second to 7 meter per second. That means initial velocity is 3 meter per second and final velocity is 7 meter per second. So find the magnitude of applied force. Now if the force was, okay, first let us find the magnitude of applied force. We know the formula. What is the formula? F is equal to ma. Force is the product of mass and acceleration, or here initial and final velocity is given. That means I will use this F. F is equal to m into v minus u by t. So let us find the force. Mass is 5 kg. In the bracket, final velocity is 7 and initial velocity is 3. Divided by time duration is 2 seconds. So what is the answer? 5 into 7 minus 3. 5 into 4 divided by 2. That is equal to 20 by 2. That is equal to 10. What is the unit here? Newton. 10 Newton. The force exerted. Okay. The magnitude of applied force is 10 Newton. Then second question. Now if the force was applied for the duration of 5 seconds, what would be the final velocity of the object? Okay, here in the next second what you have to do, mass will remain the same. Mass is 5 kg and time second, instead of 2 seconds, if they apply the force for 5 seconds, duration will become 5 seconds. What will be the final velocity? You have to find out. You will become 3 meter per second and final velocity we don't know. Okay, force we got, that is 10 Newton. So when the duration is 5 seconds, what will be the final velocity? Let us find. So in place of replace this 10 Newton, okay, I will write the formula. F is equal to m into v minus u by t. Force, instead of what is the force? Applied force is 10 Newton. 10 Newton is equal to mass is 5 kg. Velocity is don't know, okay. V minus u is 3 divided by duration is 5 seconds. So take this to the right side. So 10 into 5 is equal to 5 into v minus u, v minus 3. So 10 5s are 50 is equal to 5v minus 5 3s are 15. So take this to the right. 50 plus 15 is equal to 5v. 50 plus 15 is equal to 65 divided by, okay, 65 is equal to 5v. So take this to the 65 is equal to 5v. Take this to the take 5 to the left side. 65 by 3 is equal to v. So the value of v we will get 5 13s are. 5 13s are. So value of v, final velocity will become 13 meter per second. Okay, example number 2, 9.2, which would require greater force accelerating a 2 kg mass at 5 meter per second square, or so I will there are two objects. Consider there are two objects. One object of mass m1 is equal to 2 kg accelerated, okay, at 5 meter per second square. A is equal to 5 meter per second square. And there is another object m2 of mass 4 kg accelerated at A2 is equal to 2 meter per second square. So which would require greater force? Okay, which would require among these two objects, which would require greater force for accelerating a 2 kg of mass at 5 meter per second and 4 kg of mass at 2 meter per second. So let us find F1. F1 is equal to M1 A1, that is equal to, first find the force exerted by this object, then let us find the force exerted by the second object, then let us compare them. So F1 is equal to M1 A1. M1 is 2 kg, 2 into A1 is 5, 2 5s are 10. So the force exerted by the first object is 10 Newton. Here F2 is equal to M2 A2. So M2 is 4 and A2 is 2. 4 2s are 8 Newton. So which case force is more, F1 or F2? That means, okay, this require more force to exert the object, but F1 require a larger force because both mass and acceleration considers. Okay, example number 9.3. A motor car is moving with the velocity of 108 km per hour. That means, okay, initial velocity will become 108 km per hour. And it takes 4 seconds to stop the motor car. It takes duration is 4 seconds to stop the motor car. That means it is coming to the rest. That means final velocity will become 0. Then it stops after the brakes were applied. Calculate the force exerted by the brakes on the motor car if its masses along with the passenger is 1000 kg. Okay, mass of the motor car along with the passenger is 1000 kg. They asked you to find the force exerted by the object. So here initial velocity u is equal to, it is given in kilometer per hour. Initial velocity is given in kilometer per hour, that you have to convert it into seconds. Okay, so that is equal to 108 this kilometer per hour you have to convert it into meter per second. So kilometer per hour multiply by 1000 kilometer and divide it by 1 hour means 60 minutes and 60 seconds. So initial velocity will become how much? 108 1 2 3 divided by 6 6 36 1 2. So you will get divided by 36. That is equal to 30 meter per second. So kilometer per hour. Okay. We are calculating in meter per second because your time is in seconds. So convert this hour and kilometer to meter and second. So kilometer, when you convert it to meter, you have to multiply by 1000. Hour, when you convert it into seconds, 1 hour means 60 minutes into 60 seconds. So 60 into 60. 108 into 1000 divided by 60 into 60. So 1080 divided by 36 is remained. So when you divide it, you will get the initial velocity 30 meter per second. So let's find the force exerted by the object. F is equal to mv minus u by t. So here m, mass of the object is 1000 and final velocity is 0 minus initial velocity is 30 divided by minus 30,000 divided by 4. Minus 30,000 divided by 4 is equal to how much? Is equal to minus 7,500. So when you divide minus 30,000 by 4, you will get minus 5,000, minus 7,500. Force exerted by the object is minus 7,500. That means the force is exerted in opposite direction. This means the force is exerted in, what is the unit? Unit is Newton. Force exerted in opposite direction to stop the object. Got it? In example 9.5, the velocity time graph of a mass, the velocity time graph of a ball of mass 20 gram moving along a straight line on a long table is given in the figure. So one object is moving, the ball is moving from with the initial velocity. Okay, you can see the graph and you can find out. It started with the initial velocity u is equal to 20, how much? 20 centimeter per second. And what is the final velocity? It came to rest. Okay, because of the friction it came to rest. So final velocity is 0 here. So how much time it taken to come to rest? The time taken by the object is 10 seconds. Time is 10 seconds. So what I asked you to find out, how much force does the table exert on the ball to bring it to rest? How much force does the table exert? Okay, how much force was exerted by the table? That you have to find out. So how to find out? What is the formula? Force is equal to F is equal to m into V minus U divided by T. The mass is given in gram. That means you have to divide it by 1000. Convert gram to kg. That means you have to divide by 1000. 20 by 1000 kg. Then here initial velocity is given in centimeter. So convert it into meter. So you will become 20 divided by 10. 20 divided by, convert centimeter to meter. So 20 divided by 100. Initial velocity is 20 centimeter per second. Convert it into meter. So 20 divided by 100. So that is equal to 0.02 meter per second. Then mass 20 by 1000. Initial and final velocity. Final velocity is 0 minus initial velocity is 0.02 meter per second, and time taken is how much? It is 10 seconds. So that will gives you 20 into minus 0.02 divided by 10,000. So the answer is 0.0004 Newton. What is the sign? Minus, negative sign. Got it? So the force exerted by the table on the ball is minus 0.0004 Newton, because it is coming to the rest. That is why it is negative. Okay, dear students, in today's class we have discussed about the second law of motion, and we have seen the mathematical formula for writing the second law of motion. Then we have solved the problems under it. If you have any doubts, please ask me. Thank you, students.